different reasons. First of all, today's learning is dedicated to the Rechov Yerushalayim of the heart and the soul of Bas Medrash, and specifically this day to Judy. We wish her Rechov Yerushalayim and all the best, and she's going to be with us pretty soon. And to Rechov Yerushalayim to everybody who needs it. And you can now silently say your names of the people that need the Rechov Yerushalayim. Riva is not coming. To her as well, Rechov Yerushalayim, because my lovely teacher, Yedidya Cohen, jumped in at the last second. I have to tell you who she is, even though you all know her. Yedidya is a well-known teacher. She was fascinated by the teaching of Rav Ashlag for 30 years, and since then, she is spreading the love of his teaching around the world.
Tzfat Hashem.
And she translated several of his books in English, and she's just a wonderful person, besides everything else.
Oh, bless you, darling. So this is fun.
It's good to start the day with a hug, isn't it?
Yes.
Then why don't you all give each other a hug, if you will? That would be good. How about Israel?
Okay, do I need to put this microphone?
I have to ask the professional.
The microphone.
It doesn't.
Okay, all right. So to go.
So the microphone doesn't work. If we will all be busy with eating and drinking, and Yedidya Cohen will tell us her marvelous shiur. Thank you so much.
Oh,
it's all yours.
Okay, everybody, a real joy. And I'm sorry that Rita's not well, but obviously there's Mishamayim. And so what I want to do today is to start off Tshuva, the Tshuva camp. We're going to be spending the whole day doing Tshuva. So I want to actually just start off by looking at some basic concepts, some basic ideas of Tshuva from the Pnimiyut, from their inner meaning, okay? Because this opens up everything else you're going to be doing today and everything you're going to be doing on Yom Kippur. It opens it all up completely. All right, now, I wrote down a piece of paper. Putting on my piece of paper, okay? All right, sorry, my crib sheets, okay? Where are we going to start now? I only got the phone call this morning, but a couple of hours before I came, so I didn't have time to get all the sources organized for you like I usually like to do. All right, but what I want to tell you 100% is that everything I'm going to say from now on is not coming from me. It's coming from Rabbi Ashlag. All right, so Rabbi Yehuda Ashlag was a great Kabbalist who came in the 20th century to enlighten us on the inner meanings of the Torah. And why is it important? Because the inner meanings of the Torah teach us two aspects. One, that there's a language to Torah. And Kabbalah, it teaches us what the language actually is. All right, so there's a language. We need to learn the language. And the other thing is the language of the soul. The Zohar tells us, all right, the Holy Torah, Israel, and the soul, the Holy Torah, God is one, and are one. Okay? All right, what's Israel? The soul. Okay? So the Torah, the Holy Blessed One, and the soul share the same essence. Now, in general, we don't have aspect to our soul. Okay? We don't have direct access to the Holy Blessed One. The aspect that we do have access to is the Torah. And especially the Pnimiyut Torah, the inner meanings of the Torah, give us access to the soul. Okay, so that's why the Pnimiyut Torah has so much to teach us. about these incredible days that we're in now. Now, the first thing we're going to start off with, I got my whiteboard, okay? So the first thing I'm going to start off with is to look at the actual word. Sorry?
You need someone to hold the whiteboard.
Well, not at the moment. Let's write on it first. We'll be all right. We'll be okay. The first thing we want to look at right now is the word. Okay, thanks. The first thing we're going to look at right now is the word Tshuva. Okay. Okay, Tshuva. Okay. Right. What does Rabbi Ashlag tell us? It is Tashuv. Hey, well done. Okay, Troy. So it's been in my classes before. All right. Tashuv hey, restoring the hay. What hay is he referring to? Referring to Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Okay? Now, every single spiritual entity has the four-letter name of God inside himself. That includes ourselves. Okay? Includes the human being. Every single person has the name of God within ourselves. Now, the first three letters of God's name represent all our good deeds, all our abilities to give unconditionally to God. And that's the majority. It's the light of God within us. All right? But we also have the other side. We also have the Malchut, which is the part of ourselves which wants to receive for oneself alone, which wants to just take, is the Malchut. And during the year, due to our transgressions, sins, mistakes, whatever, we'll go into those in a minute, the last hay becomes disconnected from the other three letters of God's name. Okay, these three letters represent aspects of the soul. Okay, so the first three letters represent the aspects of the soul which are giving, which are kind, which are gracious, which can do mitzvot, which are loving. Okay, and that's the majority of ourselves. But we do also have the will to receive for ourselves alone, the desire to receive for ourselves, the egoism, the selfishness. We call it in the language of the sages, it's called the Yetzer Hara. It's got many, many, many names. Okay. When I say the majority, I want to correct myself. Those three aspects, okay, and the will to receive for ourselves are actually balance, in a sense. Within ourselves, we're always in a balance. Okay, why are we always in a balance? We need to have free choice. So although quality and quantity don't quite, they match up. If you fix the quality and the quantity together, let's just fix this right. The quality and the quantity together, in fact, they balance. So inside ourselves, at any one moment, we actually have to know we have a balance, we have a choice between the positive and the negative. But what we want on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we want to restore the hay back to Yud Hey Vav. We want the name of God within ourselves to be whole. Okay? Tshuva is restoration of the hay, restoration of the Malchut, which is the will to receive within ourselves to be back together with Yud Hey Vav. Tashuv hay, restore the hay. Okay, so that's the meaning of Tshuva. So it seemed to me a good place to begin. This is a piece that's brought in the Zohar Bamidbar Masol, which explains that is what the essence of Tshuva is. So before God created the world, before God created the human being, he created Tshuva. There's a nice Midrash which said, when God was about to create the world, he said, let us make man. And there's lots and lots of Midrashim on the creation of man, where God kind of consults with the angels. And they say, oh, no, you don't want to create man. He's going to annoy you. And but God tells them, yes, he will sin, but he will do Tshuva. And because of Tshuva, God created the human being. Okay, so Tshuva is not only a possibility, it's a part of our creation. Before God created us, he created Tshuva. All right, Okay, so there we are. Right, okay, there we go. Right. So that was the first thing we wanted to look at. Wait a minute, I think I brought my rubber here. Okay, I didn't bring my rubber. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Right. Okay. Now, one of the sayings that we say throughout the prayers is "Maloch hakol ha'olam kulo b'chesed." Reign over all the world in your glory. Okay, it's a constant refrain. And thanks, Judy. It's a constant refrain throughout all these Hagim. God as King. Okay, and what is the world we're talking about? The world out there? No. The world, the Zohar tells us that every single person is a world in himself. Okay? Every single person is a world within himself. So when we say reign over all the world, translate that in your mind to reign over me. Okay? That's what we're asking God. Reign over me. So every thought, every speech, every action, who do I want to be in charge? My egoism or God? That's the choice. The choice is at the moment to moment choice. Who do I want to be in charge? Okay? Take it all inside. Okay, creating the name of God within us. Okay, the world is me. Right? Reign over all the world in your glory. Reign over me in your glory. So that my thoughts, my speech, my action will be in consonance, will be in oneness. Where the Yud Hey Vav Hey will all be one, united within myself. That's what we're really saying. Okay? So the idea of Melech HaKol Haaretz, we want God to be reigning over Haaretz. What's the Haaretz? The Haaretz is the Ratzon, is our desire. Okay? Eretz Yisrael, Ratzon Yashar El, the desire which is straight to God. Okay? All right? So we take it from the outer and bring it all into the inner. Now, we've all got images in our minds when we first heard these ideas of God opens these books on Rosh Hashanah, okay, and the tzaddikim go for life, and the Rosha'im go for death, and the Benoni are sort of hanging in the middle somewhere until Yom Kippur. Okay, so let's find out a bit about what these books are, okay, and who is the judge. Right? Unfortunately, when I was young, and I'm quite sure many of you have the same experience, I was brought up in a religious household, but didn't have pnimiyut. We didn't have the inner meanings of the Torah at all. It was a regular Litvish household, I suppose. And I had this inner image in my head of an old man in the sky with the scales and a book. And quite frankly, I found Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur terrifying. I really did, and this went on for many years, okay, until I learned these inner meanings in the Torah, and I understood that, in a sense, I'd made inside my head a kind of avodah zarah, okay? It's actually an avodah zarah when you get an image of God within you, and that's what I was actually doing, okay? And I didn't know this. So when you actually learn the language, the inner meanings of the language, you can let go of any previous inner images that we have, okay, of God, and let go of them and convert everything into one of happiness. All right, so let's find out about these books. All right, first of all, what book are we talking about? There's no such thing as God in the sky with a book, all right? What is the book? The soul. The soul has impressions of every single thing that ever happened to it, from the beginning of its existence, eternal, till it arrived to this moment now. Okay, everything is written on the soul. The soul has memory. The soul has impressions. This is not just from this particular life. This is the impressions that the soul has received throughout all its incarnations, from its very inception in the Ein Sof, and it's come around Gilgul after Gilgul, incarnation after incarnation, till we come here. So the soul has memory, all right? And the only problem is we don't remember what's in the soul, okay? So we say to God on Rosh Hashanah, you remember, you have remembrance, okay? What does that mean? Also means the soul remembers, okay? This is the book, okay? So on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, in this whole period, we open the book of the soul and we say, which aspects do I want to keep? What aspects do I want to let go? Now this I did actually bring the actual text of which Rabbi Ashlag wrote. Like I said, I didn't have too much time to get the text together, but this one I did. Okay. Right. Before I carry on, I just want to make one more definition. What is the definition of life, Chaim? Life. Okay, we want to send the tzaddikim written in the book of life. Okay, what do we mean by life? Physical life? That's possible, but Rabbi Ashlag says the life we're really talking about is dveikut with the life of all lives, unity with God. That is life. True life is oneness with God. That's what life is. Okay? All right? So we want to keep all aspects of ourselves which are connecting us with God. Yes, let's write them in the book of life. We want to keep them, okay? We want to keep all those. When we do cheshbon nefesh, when we do self-accounting, we find also within ourselves all the aspects we don't want. Our wills to receive for ourselves alone, the avirot, the sins, the transgressions, the things we're ashamed of, the things we really don't want to carry on doing any longer, okay? Let's write them in the book of death. What's death? I want to get rid of it. I don't want to do it anymore, okay? Finito. I want to be let go of all the stuff that's holding me back from connecting with God. That's what Rabbi Ashlag means. I'm happy to be written the good stuff to write in the book of life, to keep it going, to keep my connection with God going. I'm happy to let go of all the stuff that's separating me from God, my egoism, my selfishness, my sins, my forgetfulness. I want to let go of it. Write it in the book of death. Thank you, God. I'm delighted. Okay? All right? That's the way to think of it. God only loves us. He only loves us. It's pure, pure love. So there is no such thing as writing somebody in the book of death. No, it's I want to let go of anything that's separating me from my connection with God, not in some theoretical place, but in my day-to-day, in my moment-to-moment thoughts and choices. I want God to reign. I want to let go of everything that's stopping us. Okay, so let's actually read here what Rabbi Ashlag writes. This is actually an article from Elul, but we really need to look at the festivals as one whole. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. This is a book called Hashem Shamati Shemecha. Okay, it's the old teachings of Rabbi Ashlag. Okay, which he spoke to his base Medrash. Okay, and they were written down by God, by Rabbi Baruch Shalom Ashlag. He usually spoke them on Shabbos and Yom Tov, so Rabbi Baruch Shalom had to remember everything and write it down afterwards, in the same sort of way that the Lubavitcher Rebbe's Sichot were written down. Okay? And this is what he says. Tzaddikim straight away for life. In other words, the person himself needs to say in which book he wants them to list his name. Is it in the book of the righteous? In other words, he wants that God should give him the desire to come to him in dvekut, the desire to give unconditionally, both to God and to his fellow humanity. Or no? There are many different aspects of the desire to give unconditionally. Everybody has his own particular way. Some mitzvahs appeal to some people, some mitzvahs appeal to another. We're not the same. Give us our portion in your law. We have to find out which is our mitzvah, which is the mitzvah which turns us on, okay? Which is the mitzvah I want to put my emphasis on, which is the mitzvah that helps me connect with God, not just in theory, but mamash in feeling, in practice, okay? So, all right. Sometimes a person gets scared and he says, well, I quite like doing the things that keep me separate from God. I like doing things which I know I shouldn't, but I'm addicted maybe to the internet. I'm a bit addicted to this, I'm a bit addicted to that. The will to receive oneself alone, Yetzer Hara, don't make any mistake, is God created it. God created it. It's not actually in our power to nullify it. All we can do is ask God to help us, all right, to pray about it. We do, to help us, we do confession, vidui, okay, to actually say to God, I'm sorry, I wish I hadn't done this, I wish I hadn't done that, I really apologize. I would like help in changing my way. And vidui is one aspect of tshuva, which is really mentioned in the Torah. Interesting. Okay, vidui is the essence of tshuva. Just to actually sit down with yourself in a quiet moment, okay, and just look and write down or say to yourself which aspects of yourself you want to let go of, okay? And absolutely do that. It's really important between now and Yom Kippur, not just Ashamnu Bagadnu as some sort of rote, but actually really see which parts of ourselves we want to let go of, okay? And to actually say, let them go into oblivion, okay? We need to know, he says, that in the book of the righteous and the book of the wicked is conducted in one person. What I said, okay? It takes place only within us. That in other words, that a person himself needs to make his choice and to know completely, as accurately as he can, what it is he wants. Because the issue of the righteous and the wicked, it all takes place in one person. We're not looking out there, we're not looking at somebody else, we're only looking at ourselves. The word tzibor, okay, congregation, all right? If we are a whole world, we're also a whole congregation. What does the word tzibor mean? Tzaddik, Beinoni, Rasha. Okay? Inside each one of us, we have the tzaddik element, we have the Beinoni element, and we have the Rasha element. Okay? And if you don't like calling yourself a Rasha, which, you know, we've all got to, well, one way I like to think about it is like this. There's some parts of myself which are mature, which have grown up, which actually want to connect with God and be one with him. There are parts of myself where I'm struggling, the Beinoni. I'd like to get there. I know I'm not there yet, but I'm sort of struggling, you know. And then there's the Rasha. These are the bits which I really don't know much about. I'm unconscious, okay? These are the immature parts of myself, okay? The unconscious ways in which I'm using my wills to receive myself alone. One of the most beautiful times of the year is this part of the year. We allow the rubbish to come up to the surface, okay? You can't clean what you can't get at, all right? You know what it's like. Comes Pesach, you try to pull out the fixed cupboard, you can't, okay? You want to get the sponge underneath, you can't, it's fixed, what you can't get at, you can't clean, all right? So it's the same idea. What's stuck in our unconscious and what we can't get at, we can't clean. So we need to let go of our fear of the rubbish. We need to allow God to let it come up to the surface, okay? And then we can say, no, God, I don't want to act like that anymore. All right. So that's the Rasha. The Rasha is the parts within ourselves which are often unknown to us. They're, we're acting in those ways. I'd say acting out in those ways, but we're not even aware of it. So, okay. So those are the ones we say to God, you know what? Die, finito. I've had it. I want you to help me spend this next year connected with you. That's the real life we're looking for. That's the Hayim we're looking for. Okay? Great. All right. Yes, so here we go. Therefore, man needs to say, if he wants that they should list him in the book of the righteous, that it could be straight for life, okay? Connection with God. That he wants to be connected with the life of all life. That he wants all his life, every element of his life, to be connecting with for the purpose of God. Now that doesn't have to be a big thing, okay? We don't have to go out and suddenly change our lives. In the very circles that we're in our own, wherever we are, whatever our circle is, okay? It's just changing a little bit. When you see somebody, lumbering along in the supermarket with the basket's too heavy for them, give them a hand, okay? When you see somebody can't get the money out of the Caspermat, help them press the buttons. When you see somebody who can't find a place in shul in the prayer book, show them the place. Little things. Just the more we're aware of how we can make God's light flow easier through the universe, the more we're able to help. Okay? So it doesn't have to be huge changes. It can be very little subtle ones, and they work just as well. All right? Okay? Likewise, when it comes to be listed in the book of the wicked, which is all the aspects of receiving for ourselves alone, he says, yes, ultimately, let go of all the stuff that is holding me back. That's holding me back from you. I want it to be as if it's dead to me. All right? Now, sometimes we're standing in shul, okay? And we're there, right? We can really do it. There's lots of Hashem, we can really do it, okay? It's wonderful. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the greatest time. But what happens during the year? Okay? The day-to-day, the nitty-gritty, we're not in shul anymore, the shofar's not blowing. Sochreinu l'chaim, melech hafetz b'chaim. Remember us. Remember us during the year also, okay? Help us to remember you. Help us to remember the good resolutions that we made, okay? Remind us during the year what we really want, okay? Don't just be like what we say in Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, but help us remember during the year what we really want, okay? So, Zochreinu l'chaim, melech hafetz b'chaim. Okay, now then, I need my scripture to go. Okay, tzaddik. Okay, who does Rabbi Ashak define as a tzaddik? Okay, now we all have ideas of tzaddikim, all right? But what's a tzaddik? Misha matzdik taborei. Rabbi Ashak says, whoever justifies the Creator. During the year, things happen. Okay, things feel good, things feel bad. But if we can remember that behind all the actions, even ones which we seem to brought on ourselves, actually come from God, that is the tzaddik. Somebody who can matzdik it away, somebody who can justify God. In other words, even when we find that we have gone out of the domain of holiness, we don't say, I did it. We say, God threw me out. Always referring to God. God is now going to be our reference point. Okay? So even when we do, whatever happens, the positive or the negative, we must stick it away. We justify God. Okay? We put God as our center. So it could be something that happens to us or something that, God forbid, we fall down, we sin. That also comes from God. Okay? Of course, if we fall down and sin, we need to be sorry about it. But what's the grounds that we need to be sorry about? The grounds that we need to be sorry about is not because I myself have gone out of the realm of holiness, but because I have caused a problem for the Shekhinah. Okay? The Shekhinah, the Malchut. Oh no, where's my... Oh, I might watch off already. Yud Hey Vav Hey, okay? We are all part of the whole, okay? First of all, we work on ourselves. As we work on ourselves, we are part of the whole as well. Yud Hey Vav Hey is also, it's very hologramic, okay? It's like the whole thing, and it's also the individual. So as when we sin, we are causing a problem to the Shekhinah. We're all part of the Shekhinah. What's the Shekhinah? The collective souls of Israel. All together, we make up the Shekhinah. Israel, when Israel goes into exile, when we do sins, the Shekhinah goes out with them. We don't want that. We say, no, God. If I've done something, I want to help rectify my part in the Shekhinah and bring the Shekhinah back. Okay? So if we've done something that we're sorry about, we need to, the reason for which we're sorry is because we have caused a problem to the Shekhinah. So we're asking God, help us bring the Shekhinah back. Help us regather all the souls of Israel together. That's the basis of our tshuva. So tshuva, when we do tshuva, Rabbi Elazar, I think he was, in the Gemara says, when a person does a mitzvah, he tilts the balance, not only for himself, but for the whole world too. If God forbid we do an Aveirah, we affect not only ourselves, but the whole world also. When we do tshuva, therefore, we're not just doing tshuva for ourselves, we're doing tshuva for the world. What an opportunity. What an opportunity. Amazing. Yes? I think that's lovely. Very good. Okay? So, we're all wanting to be tzaddik. Okay? Another definition that Rabbi Ashlag says is success belongs to God. All we can do is want and pray. Success belongs to God. So somebody who wants to be tzaddik, who wants to stick it up away, who wants to justify God, who wants to be one with God, but what can we do? We're also mortal and our wills to esteem ourselves alone, our Yetzirah turns up, okay? And we fall down. But we don't want to be falling down, we want to get up. So what do we say? So he is still called a tzaddik, okay? Because he wants to be a tzaddik, all right? So that also counts, all right? What we desire, even if we don't actually make it, but we just want it, that also counts. That's a very powerful aspect, all right? Now then, last issue that I thought to bring up today, and I think, yes, that brings me just about to kind of right timing, is why now? Why now? What is special about this time of the year? Okay, but we really do have to consider Rosh Hashanah, Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah as one festival. Okay, it's one big tikkun, and it's different sides, it's different aspects of the festival. All right. So What is the tikkun? The tikkun is the tikkun of Yitzhak. All right, we have Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov. But it's the tikkun right now is the tikkun of Yitzhak. So here's a nice piece of Kabbalah to end us with. All right, Abraham is Chesed. Yitzhak is Gevurah. All right. Why is Yitzhak Gevurah? Because Yitzhak has the wills to receive. Yitzhak is in charge. His essence is the vessels of receiving. And those are the ones which are problematic. Okay? In the language of Kabbalah, remember what we said earlier, it's also language. You have the right-hand side and you have the left-hand side. The left-hand side are the vessels of receiving. Now, the vessels of receiving are very important, powerful vessels. These are the vessels this is the vessel that God actually created within every soul in order to be able to receive his tremendous goodness. Without the ability to receive God's goodness, we can't receive from him. There is a problem. And the problem is that when we are receiving, we tend to separate from God because God is entirely giving. Okay? So how do we deal with that? We actually do a tikkun. And the answer is we receive only for the sake of giving pleasure to God. But that's quite a process. Okay? You can't go from your nature of I want to receive to I want to be giving in one go. We have to do a process. And this process of restraining the will to receive and allowing it to combine with the way of giving is the process that we do, starting from Rosh Hashanah, continuing with Yom Kippur, and then it ends, and then Sukkot, and we end in Simchas Torah. Okay, so what we have, it's the tikkun of Yitzhak. The tikkun, if you look up, you see Yitzhak's got a theme right throughout, isn't it? Rosh Hashanah, we had the birth of Yitzhak. We blow the Akedah of Yitzhak. We read the Akedah on the Mincha of Yom Kippur. Okay, there's different traditions about whether the Akedah actually took place on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, but the idea is we restrain our will to receive, we restrain our egoism, we restrain our desires to receive for ourselves, and instead we give back the light. Let's have an example. Okay, so it's quite a complex idea. Let's say somebody insults us. I don't know about you, how much you're following the news or whatever, but in Israel, there are insults from one end to the other. Okay, one end to the other. I can't switch on the news without being insulted. Okay, I feel insulted the whole time. Okay, what does it say? Olvim ve'inam ne'elavim ve'ino olvim are the ones whose light goes out like the sun or something like that. I can't remember the whole thing. If you get insulted, but you don't insult back, that is Gevurah. That's the tikkun of Yitzhak. Okay, you get, for example, it's just one example, but it's a good one because it's happening right now. All right, you feel insulted, you're hurt, and you let it go. You let it go. You let it go. You don't allow it to affect your thoughts, your mind, your speech, your actions to the other person, to the other side in any way. It didn't come from the other side, it came from God anyhow. Everything comes from God. Okay? That's Gevurah. When we blow the shofar, it's the same as binding the tefillin on our left hands. It's restraining. Okay? So instead of like getting the energy of the insult and whoa, banging it back, no. Okay? Absolutely not. We transform. Instead of insulting the other side back or the other guy back, we try to see the light of God within you. We try to see that there is a soul there is a human being there. Maybe a bit muddled up, never mind, we love him just the same. Okay, sometimes I get muddled up, so I wanted to, yeah? Okay? So today, right now, that's the rule that I want everybody really, really, this year, mamash, to really take on, that you hear an insult on the news anywhere, you're not going to get insulted, okay? That's the gevura, that's binding, that's restraining, okay? And then when we do that, then we can join with the Avraham, which is the right-hand line, which is Chesed, and we bring forth the middle line. The middle line is Yaakov. We are B'nai Yaakov. We are the children of Yaakov. We're the children of Israel, B'nai Israel. Israel is Yaakov, is the middle line. The middle line combines both. Combines Abraham and Yitzchak and brings it in a unity together. Okay? So I think that brings our time together more or less to an end. Okay, so I want to take, maybe you've got 5 minutes, maybe just everybody, if you've got pencil and paper, or in your minds if you don't, just sit down and either make a prayer out of what we learned today, okay, write down a prayer, or write down, or make a column and write down on one side the positive aspects that you want to keep, and the negative aspects you want to let go of. Okay? Let's everybody do that as an exercise for 5 minutes. Okay? To finish off with.
And while you're writing, I want to thank Yedidya again for showing us what real love is. To jump in at the last second and give such a beautiful, sure, unforgettable, extremely positive. Thank you so, so, so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to write down for myself too. I'm going to do the exercise as well. That's it. Perfect. Okay, everyone, I see that some people are still writing, so I don't want to interrupt those who are still writing, but the next speaker is already here, so I just want to add one last prayer. Dear God, please shine your light on everyone in this room and help all of us come to a true tshuva. And I want to wish everybody Gemar Hatima Tova.
Amen. Thank you. A little bit of house cleaning. If you'd like to regroup right now, get a cup of coffee or water, this is a perfect time. 2 minutes max. We have a next speaker.